What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Hope everybody's having a great day or night whenever you're watching this. I want to talk about the Denver Nuggets, and I just wonder, are they legit? Can this team win a title? I'm going to break down honestly why I think that they can. I think this team is fantastic. They have one of the best players on the planet, if not the best player. And we're going to get into the rest of the team, kind of how the season's gone, because they've been so good this year. They're the one seed in the West, and all you're going to hear about is Nikola. But I think there's a lot of other guys in this team deserve a lot of credit, coaching, things like that. But so let's get into it. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. And if you enjoy this kind of content, please like the video. But let's give the Nuggets some love because this team is awesome. So they are the one seed in the Western Conference, pretty much neck and neck with the Memphis Grizzlies. And they're 31-13, like a 70% winning percentage. Just makes me wonder, can this team win 60 games? Do you think this team can win 60 games? I think that they can definitely get close. I see them in the 58-62 territory. Awesome this year against the Western Conference. Awesome at home, just kind of dominating offensively. They've been a top 5 offense. Most nights they're the best offense in the NBA. Just put it like that. Right now they're in a little bit of a dogfight with the Minnesota Timberwolves, like 63-58, with pretty much the entire second half remaining. So we'll see how this pans out. But as before this game, they're on a 7-game win streak, 9-1 in their last 10 games, and they've just been rolling their opponents, just destroying them in those and on this 7-game win streak, winning by an average of almost 16 points per game. It's a blowout on this 7-game win streak, just destroying the other teams. Not even close. The only close game that they had, I think, was against the Magic, and the Magic are playing teams very tough because that team's kind of started to figure out a little bit. But regardless, absolutely destruction whenever you're watching them play any other team right now. They have the best record against Western Conference opponents of literally everyone. They're 23-9. Next closest team is the Dallas Mavericks at 18-10. So basically, like a 5.5 game difference between them and the next closest team against playing against the Western Conference. So playing against their own teams that they're going to go up against in the playoffs. Obviously, some teams are missing players from injury and stuff like that, but you can only play who's in front of you, and they're just knocking them down. So let's talk about the team's offense collectively. They're number 6 in points per game. They play really fast. They're number 4 in fast break points per game, so they're getting out and on the break. I think that helps when you have the best passing center, best passing big of all time, possibly the best passer in the NBA right now. Well, I'm not going to get all the way into that, but fast breaks are a little bit easier when you got somebody like that leading the show. They're number 2 in assists, a la Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, Bones Highland, some other guys. They play as a really well orchestrated team. Yes, most of it starts through Jokic, but a lot of other guys get their hands on the ball. They make the selfless play. A lot of them will go for the hockey assist, meaning that they're not gonna get the assist, but the pass that they make is gonna go to somebody who's gonna make the next pass for the assist. So it's just good collective team basketball. And there's not that many teams that are really playing like that. There's maybe like a handful, maybe 5 or 6 that are playing good collective team basketball right now. And they are the best one, in my opinion, other than maybe Boston, but I'm not going to get into that. And they are literally the best shooting team in the NBA, number 1 in field goal percentage. I was blown away by this, and you would be able to tell if you watch the games, but it still just blows me away. They've got so many guys shooting like almost 40% from 3. That's ridiculous. There's a few KCP, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., Bruce Brown's like right there. I'm probably forgetting a name, but just you get the point. And they're number 14 in defense. And while that may seem mid or anything like that, in the beginning of the season, they were like 25th, 26th. They were a bad defense to start the season, but they've kind of started to figure that end of the court out, which obviously, if you're going to want to try and win a title or be anything that's legit in the postseason, you have to be able to play defense. And they've kind of been figuring that out over the last month to 6 weeks or so. Really, as they've been picking up steam, the defense has been following suit. So I like to see that. I think that's a big reason for the fast breaks, points per game, the assists, stuff like that. It all kind of flows when you play good defense. So we talked about the whole team collectively and what they do as a unit. Let's talk about the individuals, because the individuals deserve credit because they're the ones that are actually playing out there, making plays for each other. And obviously, when you're going to talk about individuals on the Denver Nuggets, you're going to start the conversation with the 2-time MVP, possibly going to be 3-time MVP in Nikola Jokic, because the dude's averaging, what is he averaging? Like 25, 11, and 10 or something like that. Like just triple double pretty much almost every single night. And he's just inevitable. He's like Thanos. He's just inevitable. You're going to run into him and he's going to do whatever he wants. It's the craziest thing because he's not hyper athletic. He plays at literally his own speed. Nobody else's, his own speed, and just dominates. There's nobody like him in the NBA right now. And that's special to say because, it's true. There really isn't anybody like him. And that's why he's probably going to win his third MVP if he keeps this up, by the way. Before I get into other players, because obviously you got to talk about Jokic. I don't want to go a ton into him. They have 7 guys that average 10 plus points per game and 4 that average like 16 plus points per game. Just awesome. So let's get into the guys that do that, right? Jamal Murray, start with him. Averaging like 18 and a half points, 4 rebounds, and 5.5 assists or so per game. Started off a little slow. Obviously, you would have expected that. He came back from the torn ACL, long layoff, hadn't played in forever. And over the last, I'd say, since the new year, especially, so pretty much all of January, the efficiency has just taken a huge jump. His scoring is getting kind of back to what he was before the injury. I think he's averaging since since the new year, 20 points, 4.6 rebounds, 4.4 assists, but he's on 47% from the field, 47% from 3, and almost 90% from the free throw line. That's like 47, 47, 90 that's tough. And the degree of difficulty on the shots he takes, they're tough buckets. Whether anybody wants to pay attention to it or not, it's not just open threes off of Jokic passes. That's a lot of, creating his own. He ISOs a lot and he gets his buckets. He's awesome. I love giving that guy credit because he's really somebody that I used to really dislike. And now I just can't get enough of him ever since the bubble, honestly, where he just really opened my eyes. So happy that he's back healthy and balling. But enough about him. We got to talk about Michael Porter Jr. now. He's averaging like 16 points and 6 rebounds, and he's shooting about 48% from the field, 41% from 3, and I think like 76 from the line. Just, he's a similar case as Jamal Murray, where not a single shot he takes is like an open one. Every shot he takes, degree of difficulty is just to the max for whatever reason, but he knocks him down. And you need a big wing that can hit tough shots in the finals, in the Western Conference Finals, in the semifinals, in the first round. You need somebody like that because that's a guy that might be able to help you close out a game or two. Look at the Bucks. They needed Chris Middleton because while Giannis is great, Middleton does things that are a little bit out of Giannis's territory, right? So you need guys like that can go get you tough buckets, shoot over literally anyone. And then, he's just been a good player. I don't know if you want to say he's worth the huge price tag that he has, but on this team, when there's so many great players, it's hard to really show out like that. So I'm not even looking too far into it. He's been good. While Michael Porter Jr. has been pretty good, I think he's been the 4th best player on this team this season. Aaron Gordon, to me, he's just so underrated for the level of defense he plays. And he reminds me a ton of Andrew Wiggins in terms of the athleticism, can guard many different positions, can shoot. He's efficient, just rebounding. I'm seeing such a huge trend and correlation between him and Andrew from last year in the finals and the playoffs, where that guy really just showed out. And I'm really seeing something like that from Aaron Gordon. There's a good argument for him to be an all-star just because he's been one of the top, 6 or 7 defenders in the entire NBA. And, he does so many other good things and he's a hyper athletic freak. So, Aaron Gordon I think he's been the 3rd best player, maybe even 2nd. You might even be able to make that argument. I'd take Jamal Murray ahead of him just a little bit, but, tomato, tomato. Then you got your role players, the guys that really make up a championship team. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, KCP, 47% from 3, elite perimeter defense, can create his own shot here and there. Just, a former Laker in me loves that guy. He's awesome. He's one of the better perimeter guard defenders in the entire league, and he's a sniper from 3. That's all you can ask for to fit around Nikola Jokic, especially because that's perfect. Then you have guys like Bones Highland who come off the bench, hitting like 40% of their threes. They can be really, really streaky. I think Bones is really, really streaky, but when he's on, and it is really tough to stop. He can carry you in a game or two here and there. And I think he's a fun spark plug kind of 6-man player, and I like that role for him. And I'm curious to see how he grows because it's just going to become, getting the consistency down a little bit, and then you're going to see how good he can really be. But I think Bones has been pretty solid. Next guy, Bruce Brown, because that might have been the free agency pickup of the offseason for them because he is like a combo between KCP and Aaron Gordon to an extent. Okay, that's kind of weird, right? But he shoots really well. He can guard pretty much 1 through 4. It makes the right reads a lot of times. Just a really, really quality 3-and-D kind of just good player. Got a floater, stuff like that. This is why I think that they're legit, is because they surrounded Jokic with so many great players that when like talent wins in the NBA, and talent when it tries is really, really hard to beat. And this team is consistently putting out effort just because, the role guys are playing for something. Michael Porter Jr. is playing for something. Same with Jamal Murray. He's coming back from injury. Jokic got something to prove. Like this team just has a chip on its shoulder, and they might be having a chip at the end of the year. Also, shout out Christian Braun, Braun, however you say his last name. Highlight play here and there, dunking on people. I liked him. I liked him coming out of college. I thought he would be I wondered if he was going to get a lot of minutes, and obviously, Michael Malone has been coming out a lot in the past, few weeks, saying that he's trying to find him minutes and stuff like that. It's hard, but he's looking like a pretty good pick, and I'm curious to see how his career goes. But he's been pretty solid for a rook. Now, see, while they've been awesome of late, the last 7 games, right now it's a 4-point game, 70-66 against Minnesota. And, Minnesota's a tough team. They're not great by any means, but they play everybody tough. The stretch that they have coming up is tough to the max. All right. They're in the next few games, they're going to play the Pacers, who probably won't have Halliburton. So that's kind of like a little bit of a different test. OKC, who I want to make a video on because I think they're playing so well. That team, do not sleep on them. They were winning, I think today it's like 17-1 to start the game. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is awesome. So that game, don't gloss over it. That game's going to be tough. They play the Pelicans twice. Pelicans are playing everyone tough. I think the Pelicans are one of the more legit teams in the West. Tangent here. I think it's in the West, the Nuggets, the Grizzlies, and the Pelicans. Those are the 3 teams I like the most to make it out the West this year. I just think those teams just stack up better than everybody else in the West. Then they're going to play Giannis's Bucks. Hopefully Giannis is back and healthy by then. They're going to play the Philadelphia 76ers, who have been playing pretty good basketball of late. Joel Embiid, obviously you guys already know about the Jokic versus Embiid thing. Tomato, I don't really care. I think Jokic is awesome. I think Embiid's awesome. And then they're going to play the defending champs, the Golden State Warriors, but that's going to be in Golden State, where Golden State is a completely different team at home compared to on the road. They cannot win a single damn game on the road, but they can dominate you at home. So while the record may not show it, that's a tough game against Golden State. The Atlanta Hawks, they're pretty competitive. They got some star power. They're playing decent basketball. Hopefully they can kind of steer in the right direction to finish the year. And then they're going to play the Timberwolves as they're playing them right now. I think they play them in a back-to-back in a couple weeks or something like that. So those are all pretty much teams that I listed right there. Those are all playoff teams, in my opinion. Those are all teams that can make the playoffs and make noise in the playoffs to an extent. So over that stretch, I don't know how many games we expect them to win. I would think because they've been so good this season, I would expect them. That's 1, 2, that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 9 games. I would expect them to go 6-3. Go 6-3. I think that's a W of a 9-game stand. And then, you can see where you're going from there. But my question, as I asked in the beginning, is do you think Denver can win 60+ games? And do you think this team can win a title or make it out of the West? However you want to look at it. I think yes, and yes. I think this team is really, really good. And anytime you have a great player like Nikola Jokic and the team is healthy, which newsflash to anybody that hasn't paid attention to Nuggets basketball in the past 2 years, they have not been healthy. They're healthy now. And they were a problem when they weren't healthy. So come on now. The logic is too easy to see. So I really like what they've got going right now. And my final question, put it in the comments. Do you think Nikola Jokic is going to win his 3rd straight MVP? I don't want to hear anything about voter fatigue. He's just putting on a show. And if they're the 1 seed and he's the best player on the 1 seed in the West, it's going to be really, really hard to argue against him. So yeah, I think he's got I give him like a 70-75% chance of pulling that off, which is higher than I would give a lot of guys in recent years to winning the MVP. So I love it. I think this Nuggets team can do it all. I think they can win it all. Do you agree or disagree in the comments? Let me know why. Obviously, we're going to maybe have a different opinion of what these teams can be, but that's completely cool. I'm always here to hear anybody else's thoughts. But yeah, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. If you enjoy this kind of content, please like the video. The Nuggets are pretty legit, and let's see if they pull off this tough road. They're at home against the Timberwolves right now, but we'll find out. Thank you for watching. I'm done here. Peace.